So today we are going to tackle that age-old debate if you should measure clothing or not. So the number one argument in that debate is time. Your time is so precious when you're reselling. Whether you're doing it full-time or part-time or as a side hustle and you have a regular 9-to-5 job every week, time is precious. And the big debate is that doing measurements wastes a lot of time. You know, some people say it can take 30 seconds to do a measurement. Let's just say for argument's sake, 30 seconds per listing. Okay, so 30 seconds per listing times 50 pieces per day comes out to 25 minutes per day. 25 minutes per day, 7 days a week, comes out to 175 minutes per week. 175 minutes per week times 4 weeks in a month comes out to 700 minutes per month. And 700 minutes per month is equivalent to just over 11 and a half hours. 11 and a half hours. However, all of that being said, I am a huge advocate for listing measurements with your clothing items within eBay. Mainly because, number one, I personally do not like the questions. Oh my God. Oh, I really don't like measurement questions. I don't like them. Mainly because I would have to pull the items from inventory, take the time to do the measurements, and then send them in the message. When I could have just done the listings to begin with and saved, you know, the whole trouble of having to email back and forth. And then you can also run that risk of having a different person ask the exact same question on the exact same item. And so you'd have to pull it out and do it all over again, or you would have to pull the measurements from a previous message and submit it to the new buyer. And then if a third person does it, it's just like, ah! So first and foremost, doing measurements saves that headache. But then there's still the question of time. Is answering questions about measurements really going to amount to that same 11 and a half hours out of your month? Well, probably not. But here is another thing. The second reason why I always make sure to put measurements in listings is because I think deep down a lot of people want to see it. And a lot of people might not want to ask and wait for the answer. You know, if it's an auction item, if an item is going to end within the next day, they might not want to sit around and wait for you to respond what the measurements are. Maybe they'll just completely overlook your listing because they don't know if it's going to fit or not. You know, or if the item ends in an hour. If you have an auction ending in an hour, the people don't have time to ask what the measurements are because they figure, you know, they're saying, well, you know, it ends in an hour. If I don't, they probably won't get back with me, so I won't know if I should bid or not. So there's that. And then there's also the people with the buy it, you know, then the people, the buy it now listings. If you have a buy it now listing and somebody's looking at it and they don't know if the item is going to fit, it's a lot easier. If there's 1,000 other listings, it's a lot easier for them to just click out of your listing and go to the next one that might have measurements. So you could be missing out on sales if people don't know if your item is going to fit them or not. Some people don't want to even ask. They'll just move on. And the third reason I like to put measurements in my listings is because it does have the ability to limit your item returns. If you have measurements in the listing, then people are less likely to buy something assuming it's going to fit them and end up returning it to you later, which can be a real headache. But I do have to admit, there are a lot of times that people don't even look at the measurements and they return anyway. But the measurements, I think, still help a little bit. Okay, now that we've determined that I'm an advocate for measurements in eBay listings, the next question would be, well, what measurements? I'm gonna show you. Okay, so I used to do a lot more than I do now. Since I've been listing such a high quantity, I have decided to kind of shorten the amount of measurements that I do to try to save time. So let's start with jeans and pants. Jeans and pants, I will almost always, most definitely do measurements because tops usually have a lot of stretch, or dresses can have some stretch, but pants usually don't have much stretch. Except for these. These have some stretch. I'm gonna pick another one. Let's see. I have a whole bin over here. Okay, yep, these don't have any stretch. We'll work with these. Okay, so for jeans and pants, I always do the waist across, the rise up, and the inseam. So if we have a pair of pants, I will do the measurement going straight across. This is the waist. The rise would be from the little crissy cross here. The rise is from here up. That is the rise up to the top. Doop doop. And then of course the inseam is from that same crissy cross all the way down to the bottom hem. That's your inseam. So those are the three that I do for pants. Waist, rise, inseam. Okay, so those are pants. Dresses, I will... Okay, so dresses, depending on the dress, I will do bust, length, and then I might end up putting waist in there. So bust, of course, is basically armpit to armpit. Okay, so this is difficult. So we'll go across, right? Okay, so that would be the measurement for bust. Bust is armpit to armpit. That's the bust. And then the overall length would be from the highest point, which is usually the, if it's a dress like this, it would be from the top backside all the way down to the bottom hem. That's the total length. Or if it wasn't a dress like this, if it was just like a tank top or something like that, you would go from the top strap all the way down. If it's a spaghetti strap though, I will usually just do from the back down. And when I do the measurements, I will say without straps. Like the length is 37 inches without straps. I will make that perfectly clear. And then of course the waist is where the natural waist is. Like you could see here in this dress, the waist is obviously right around here. So, but this dress I would probably just do bust. I wouldn't really do waist because there is some give to it. I would do the measurements on the waist of a dress if it didn't have any give. If it was like a stiffer dress, I would do the waist. That way you have the length, the bust, the waist, the length, the bust, and the waist. And then for shirts, of course, I didn't grab a shirt, so I don't have one. But the shirts, I just do bust and length. That's it. That's it for shirts. Shirts is bust, armpit to armpit measurement, and back collar to bottom hem. That's it for shirts. I think that's it. All right, you guys, thank you for watching. I hope that this gave you a little bit of more insight into why you maybe should or shouldn't do measurements, but really, ultimately, it's up to you. It's your business, it's your time. If you deem it necessary to do measurements, then go for it. If you don't feel like you have the time, then don't worry about it and just wait for the questions. But anyways, thank you again so much for watching. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up and let me know. If you have any questions or comments, you can feel free to leave them in the comments below. If you haven't subscribed to me yet, I hope you will. Thanks again so much for watching. I will see you with my next video. Bye.